Welcome back, Civ Fanatics. I'm the GENXENNIAL, and today we have a twofer video looking at my new map, Inca Stargate, and how to use mountain tunnels. If you don't want to be spoiled by the video, the Steam download link is in the description below, but I would recommend checking it out because this map is pretty crazy. So without further ado, let's go. What is the Inca Stargate? It's a small-sized map separated into 11 secluded habitable zones. However, it's intended to be played with a maximum 10 civs and 14 city-states. At the beginning of each game, each zone is completely cordoned off from the others and contains all of the tiles you would otherwise need to sim play in isolation. Everyone has a wonder, a volcano, 10 luxuries, and at least one of each strategic resource. The limited amount of usable tiles will, however, force the player into a tall playstyle, which would be a few cities in close proximity versus a wide playstyle, which would be many cities widely spread apart. Plan to manage housing well if you're determined to remain isolated. This brings us to the Inca. The Inca have a unique mountain improvement called the Capicnan. It's unlocked through foreign trade, which is one of the earliest civics in the ancient era. In comparison, other civs will not have the capability to build tunnels until they reach military engineering to access the military engineer. Every mountain on the map is connected, meaning all tunnels are connected and any civ can use them if they have access. This will play a big role in your civ meeting strategy. Since all of the mountains on the map are connected, once a civ or city-state has access to a tunnel, they will be able to use it either with you or against you. Although tunnels cost 2 movements and most units can only access the first tile, some units, such as horsemen, can leapfrog gatekeeper units into the second or even third tile. Protecting yourself from invasion through tunnels can be tricky business, so stay on top of it. Otherwise, the early game edge afforded to the Inca via the Capicnans can result in some major map-specific bonuses. So let's talk about those next. In the spirit of the Stargate franchise, each zone is treated as its own planet. Although, in theory, the player will technically be able to tunnel into any mountain on the map has been purposely structured to help the player determine where Stargates should be placed. In short, the recommended locations are snow mountain tiles, not to be confused with tundra mountain tiles. You can be sure of what it is by hovering your cursor over it. Some of the gates will lead to the outer realm, otherwise known as the ocean. Some gates will lead to other civs, and some gates will lead to vast amounts of treasure. With that in mind, there are a few ways to go about playing this map. Some will want to study the clues in this video and determine how to immediately find treasure, while others may want to wing it and do all of the exploring required. To each their own, I find both options appealing, to be honest. So, with the spirit of the explorer in mind, I'm not going to go into extreme detail about how to reach these locations. I'll just tell you that most of the outside world is covered in cliffs, and therefore there's only a few unique places where a builder can climb onto land and install a tunnel. As previously mentioned, the player will be able to tunnel into any mountain from the inside realm. However, the cliffs will stop any unit from passing that doesn't have cliff climbing ability, including builders. Stick with the snow mountains as intended. This will also be relevant as it relates to protecting your empire from other civs using your own tunnels against you. Finally, we'll talk about victory strategy. The goal is almost certainly a science victory. Granted, any victory condition is possible, but it would be a mighty tall hill to climb. Because this is a 6-player map, there are only 4 great profits, even if you set the game to 10 civs. Establishing the required amount of trade needed for a culture victory would prove difficult without exposing yourself to mountain tunnel attacks from aggressive civs, and the same could be said about that with religion as well. Domination and diplomacy might be viable options given advanced knowledge of the tunnels, but at the end of the day, a science victory is where it's at. So that's it. I know there's a lot more that could be said about this map, but I'm trying to keep it brief as to not spoil it for the explorers. But if you have any extra questions, put them in the comments below and I'll answer them right away. Thanks for hanging with me this time. I'll see you on the flip side.